you avoid death.
Upon clicking this video, you're probably thinking that A, it cannot be done, or B, I'm cheating. And I get it, from every defeated enemy you are awarded experience, and weapons are going to upgrade. But what if we say, don't use the weapons at all? Huh, I have already done that. 2 years ago I made a cracking time run with only the wrench, and it was really hard. And I made it all the way to the end of Gimlick Valley, where I declared beating Argos with only the wrench to be impossible. At least on hardcore difficulty, which I'm always on. And the save files still exist. I mean, I have about 30 or so save files on my PS3, so I had to search for a while, but I did find it. What if I were to beat Argos with the wrench and the 2 weapons that I have? The Constructor Pistol and the Negotiator. Would I be able to actually beat the entire game using only level 1 weapons? Now, let's recap a little. Why did I declare Argos impossible with only the wrench on hardcore difficulty? Well, Argos has 3 phases. In the first phase, he's rather slow. He can either go left, go middle, or go right. He will fly there for a bit before firing his weapon, and he really is open to fire. But I don't actually mean fire because we can't risk extra experience on the weapons. See, if we were able to beat Argos, that would be great. But we have to see the bigger picture. There are more fights coming up. Now, I have committed suicide here a lot. Every time I take damage early in the fight, I'd kill myself. Because I need every last hit point in the final phase. I have to practice for a bit because it's been 2 years since I did this fight. But you can actually defeat the first phase with the wrench quite easily without taking any damage. And this is amazing because that gives us some wiggle room in the upcoming parts. In the second phase it gets a bit more tricky. Argos will now hide below your platform and he will fire or throw bombs which follow you around. In my wrench only run I tried strats of throwing time bombs onto the place where he throws the bombs so they slow down and you have more time. And this helps by giving you more health. But this way there's almost no opening for you to get damage on Argos. So in this run I decided to use weapons. I'd recommend the following. Use up all your Negotiator ammo first and then use your Constructor Pistol. Although I believed for a long time that the damage was set to 0, that isn't actually the case. Rather 1 or something, which is awful, but hey, we actually do deal damage. Which leads me to believe that there is actually some chance I can beat it. But why Negotiator ammo first? See, ammo is gonna run out constantly. And there's a very big chance that ammo drops Constructor bullets. But there's also a very low chance that you get Negotiator rockets. And they deal so much more damage. So every chance we get to take the rockets, we will try. The big difference in this fight is when I actually attack Argos in the third phase. We defeat the Argorian soldiers with the wrench, but because we have weapons now, instead of only the wrench, we can keep distance from Argos and it makes the fight a lot safer. However, it is still slow as heck, and you know what this means? Be prepared to spend a long time on this platform. Of course, that is if you don't get hit, because if you do, you can try again. And you're just gonna spend even longer here. But the strategy in theory isn't so bad. Just run left to right, jump over incoming fire, take out the bombs with the wrench, take every ammo box that spawns, and hope that you get Negotiator rockets. If not, it's not a big deal, it's just gonna take a while longer. But when you're doing this, eventually you will start to see Argos' health bar drop. I believe I got Negotiator rockets twice in this fight, which sped up the fight a little. In the end, after a long time, I get to 1 singular HP point remaining. Now it's getting intense. I have to keep my focus, and one mistake and the run starts from scratch. In my head I'm conflicted, because with 1 HP, we cannot win, right? But if we do manage to win, that would be amazing, and Argos, who has been in my head for 2 years now, can finally be dealt with. Okay, come on. Maybe. Please. Yes. Oh, yes. I did it! Argos is defeated after so long. This is great. And you know what the best part is? We have almost no experience on our weapons, which means we have all weapons available for the upcoming parts. And yes, it is a relief that we can finally use weapons, but maybe that's not what I want. Because yeah, there are not many levels available, but the levels that are coming up are gonna be a nightmare, and the enemies here give out way more experience. Also be aware that getting from level 1 to 2 is going to take you way less experience than say getting from level 4 to 5. So every time I use a weapon I have to be careful. Because maybe it can be done with the wrench, and if that is true, then I have to do that. But let's get there first. And that is not so easy. We take the ship back to Dr. Nefarious' space station and we have to get to him. But the path is blocked by literally dozens of enemies. How are we going to deal with that? Well, time to get an upgrade and buy every last weapon available. And that is great, but like I said, you can't just spam the best weapons. I can't have them upgraded, since that would mean that I cannot use them anymore for the parts where I would really need them. And, well, the problems I faced in my wrench-only run quickly continue. The Lancers stay in the back and their attacks deal massive damage. But why not speedrun to them? Well, that is no option since the platform before them is hot and you cannot stand on it until you throw cold water on it. But getting the water takes about 2 seconds of me standing stationary for this, whatever this is, and that can only happen when I defeat the tank and the shooters here. So the Lancers are going to have open fire on me for a long time. But when I finally reach them, it's not safe, they can easily kill me. And when defeating them, the next problem arises. The enemies on the next platform shoot these barricades that I have to keep in mind. But just for fun, let's say that I hypothetically were to make it across. Well, then 2 tanks spawn in, and on the last platform there will be a lot of goons and 2 gunships. So after a few tries I start to worry, and I start to strategize. What weapons do I need the least? Are there some weapons that I can miss in the upcoming battles? I'm not sure. My thought process is this. The Negotiator, the Plasma Striker and the Buzz Blades are my most deadly weapons. The Magnet Launcher is great from stopping bosses from doing certain attacks. Mr. Zircon, Tesla Spikes and the Cryo Mine are great for support. And the Constructo Bomb, Constructo Pistol, Rift Inducer 5000, Sonic Eruptor and the Dynamo of Doom are kinda whatever. Now I decide that my most useless weapon is the Dynamo of Doom. And charging that up won't really help me against upcoming boss fights. After having lost countless of times, I decided to be a little more risky. Upon defeating the shooters, I make my way to the Lancers, but I don't actually kill them. I run past them. Now why I am so nervous about that is that they are way better from a distance, and in executing this strategy, I move away from them. I bump into the tanks and use a cryo mine to temporarily make me safe. But now the biggest risk comes. If I want to have some kind of chance to reach the last platform, I fire my magnet launcher and hoverboot past them. That is really risky, since if that upgrades, I think the run is dead. And I can't just reset, because with every weapon upgrade, the game saves, and I have to start the entire wrench-only run again. But by getting on this platform, we can replenish some lives, and I decide to fire a few Negotiator rockets to lessen the amount of wrench throws that I have to do. I keep on running away, of course, and I hope that the gunships do good damage on the goons. This is the time I will take out one gunship using my Negotiator, so I can have the best chance of survival. But by having done this makes the goons stuck on this rock, and they all have to go all the way around to come and kill me. During this time, I can throw my wrench and take them out. But this is both good and bad, because now a gunship will spawn, which is a problem on its own, but he also spawns 4 tanks. And I very quickly think, it's all or nothing here. Because if I mess up, I redo everything and I keep gaining experience on my weapons. So I go all out and use my magnet launcher, buzzblade and sonic eruptor. I keep dodging and dodging, but there is so much going on and I get taken out. What? Hey! For some reason the checkpoint has been reached. And I don't get why, because I have made it to this platform before and then it didn't trigger. Okay, well, fine then, we made it. Time to catch some air. We are about to face 3 of the hardest bosses in the game. I don't know how this is gonna go, but let's try anyway. The fight against Dr. Nefarious is up first. I will always try range only, and with most attacks that really seems like the way to go. But Nefarious quickly changes his attacks, and when standing close to him, it's kinda hard to predict where it's safe and not. So in this fight there will be the odd situation where using the wrench can work, but you have to be careful, and I'd recommend to stay with weapons. The strategy is this: equip Mr. Zircon, stay kinda close and fire every weapon as much as possible, so you rotate between them. Mr. Zircon at level 1 has almost no range and he will not even notice Dr. Nefarious, even when standing kinda close. But it matters not, we don't really need him to win. Sometimes the game pauses to do a hoverboot part, but overall I'd say that this part isn't really that difficult. What I should mention is that I'm still a little in between on if it's better to fight the goons that Nefarious spawns a few times with the wrench or with weapons. You'll get a bunch of damage when you damage them with the wrench. So I'd recommend to take them out with the more useless weapons like the Dynamo of Doom, Tesla Spikes and the Rift Inducer 5000. These weapons are also way better in groups than in face-to-face combat against one boss. So it matters the least if these are the ones that were to upgrade. Try a few times and this part shouldn't be that hard, only a bit harder than the regular boss fight. But when battling the second phase on the ship that flies to the Great Clock, it gets a lot harder, because of all the places where we cannot stand. Plus, Nefarious will be spawning in small enemies, and with my level 1 weapons, this is going to take a while. However, tragedy is about to strike. Mr. Zircon upgrades, making him not usable anymore. Which is not a big deal, but this makes me scared of what's to come. With every attempt, which are a lot, my weapon wheel gets more tight. But at this time we are still in the game big time. My ammo got refilled upon making it here. The only thing that we can logically do is to evade a lot and equip the Skyburst mod on the Constructo Bomb to make the explosion go up where Nefarious is. I'd also often use magnets on him if he starts to do the laser attack. I think I can get hit by that the most easily, so it's better to not having him do this move. My real strategy in this run comes from the small enemies that spawns, because there are 4 things that we can actually do. We can A. Shoot Nefarious with the Sonic Eruptor and hoping that it takes out the small droids as well. B. Shoot Nefarious with the Dynamo of Doom, but it takes time to charge it up, and I wouldn't recommend this really. We can C. Throw my wrench at them and run away. And D. Let Lawrence and Nefarious take out the small enemies themselves. It depends on the situation, but most of the time I use a strategy which combines a few of these options. Now this is not going to take you 1 attempt, 2 attempts or 6 attempts, but eventually stick with it and you will take Nefarious down. Some of my weapons are now halfway through their experience bar, so I have to be careful. But now onto the Great Clock, for the final official challenge of the game, defeating Azimuth. Now I will tell you this up front, this isn't going to work out. Azimuth deals so much damage. I started by using minimal weapons and try him basically wrench only, but I did so little damage until I was taken out that really wasn't a viable strategy. So after trying this fight for about half an hour, I knew I had to rework my strategy and prepare better. But that also means going back to the Agorian Battleplex and win the Spiral of Death and the Constructor Shotgun. I know, why didn't I do that before? But the truth is I didn't want to spend all that time. And I didn't know if we would actually need them. But seeing how far we actually make it against Azimuth, we really have to use them. So that means beating most challenges here with the wrench, because I can't risk experience on the weapons. All my strategies from my wrench only run return. So for example, when fighting the Hydra tank, I throw time bombs and then use my wrench. For some reason, Hydra tanks get really confused and they will sometimes make really bad decisions when they are in a time bomb. So I take advantage of that since my time bombs cannot upgrade. So after collecting the Spiral of Death and the Constructor Shotgun, I scout out every level to get all the Rhino holoplans. This was mildly frustrating since this was a save file from 2 years ago and I could not remember which I already got and which ones not. But in the end we also obtained my favorite weapon in Ratchet and Clank history. The Rhino 5. Is this firepower enough to take on Azimuth? Well, we use a few strategies. The first one being that whenever Azimuth will hoverboot around the platform, we will stop him by setting up a stun lock trap. At one point throw cryo mines or a magnet to make him stop. Groovytron can also be done, but I didn't use that in this run, it felt too cheap. But in this stun, set up Tesla spikes, a Rift Inducer 5000 hole, and keep spamming the Constructor Shotgun with the stun mod equipped to keep him there for as long as possible and get as much damage on him as possible. With all these things the damage adds up. But of course, all is not good, since at some point he will escape and try different attacks. There are a few attacks that I personally don't like the attack where he will charge towards you and hoverboot into you, but I also dislike the attacks where he throws his stick towards you and drops energy balls. Whenever he does this, I will magnet. But when he comes too close, I feel relatively safe. I will fire my trusty Rhino to get as much rockets to hit him as possible. Now when the fight has been going on for a while, I will often choose to abandon the stun lock strategy and hoverboot around the platform in the opposite direction of Azimuth. This serves two purposes. I can get casual damage in by throwing my wrench or firing any weapon that feels good at a time, but also ammo replenishment. And this is really important, because the more magnets I have, the more I can manipulate how Azimuth will behave. That, plus the fact that with more Rhino or Negotiator rockets, I can do massive damage. And the more stun locks I get to do, the safer this fight is. So sometimes it just makes a lot of sense to pause the fight to collect ammo. This way, and with a lot of patience, you can eventually win the battle. Be very careful of your ammo, your position, and not fall into the random holes created in a platform. It will take a lot of time and willpower, but victory can be yours. And we have defeated the challenge. You can actually beat a crack in time using only level 1 weapons. But the run is not over. There's a bonus challenge of Vorselon attacking one last time. So let's cover that last. I did one attempt of trying this wrench only, but I lasted exactly 1 minute and 38 seconds. And that is including the time where enemies haven't spawned yet. I still have nightmares about the second Vorselon fight and the hangar part in the wrench only run, which took me an entire day. So in my second run, I instantly went to the turret and started using that. Weapons will undoubtedly upgrade way too fast, and I didn't even know if it would work effectively. So let's skip right ahead to the Vorselon fight. I will only get 2 shots at this. One scouting run and then maybe one other run. Why? Most of my weapons are about to upgrade to level 2. Here, upon starting the fight, the Tesla spikes upgrade, which I can now not use anymore, which are not essential, but a big part of my stun lock strategy that I can now not longer use anymore. My strategies kinda remain similar to my wrench only run. I know that survival is the most important factor here, so I try to evade as much attacks, deal as much damage as possible, and when he does attacks I really don't like this web attack, I use magnets. But here, the next problem. One of the weapons that deals the most damage, the Negotiator, becomes inaccessible as well. So let's use the Constructor Bomb, yes? Well, great idea, but look at this experience bar. And ding ding ding, unusable. Damn it, this really isn't looking good. Even my Rhino 5 gets more experience point in a few seconds, then of firing this in the entire last boss fight. Is this it? Is this the end? Well, I do have a few good weapons remaining, but Vorselon deals way too much damage. I'm not gonna win. So I try to be clever and load my last save point. Hopefully this makes it so that the weapon upgrades did not happen. Nope. Unfortunately, this doesn't work. And we can only do one final attempt. Here we go. I start hyper aggressive with the Rhino. Launch magnets on Vorselon to negate this attack. And back up and shoot as much buzz blades as I can. This process goes on for a while. I did notice, however, that upon resetting the level, my weapons stay the same, but the huge amount of experience I got last run with the Rhino was gone. And that means that I can fire with the Rhino as much as possible. And he upgrades. Fine, can we still win? We just continue. But a thought that occurred to me is when more and more levels will upgrade, ammo won't drop as frequently. And that is going to be a problem. This is a long fight, so let's skip some of it. I use every weapon in my toolbox. The Constructor Shotgun, the Constructor Pistol, Cryo Mine, Dynamo, Rift Inducer 5000, Magnets, Buzz Blades and the Plasma Striker. I try as hard as I can. But my options are very limited. In the end I get brought all the way back to 3 HP. And I play as evasive as I can while still doing damage. But Vorselon wins. And this was my final attempt. With the weapons I have left, I unfortunately won't beat Vorselon. Too bad I had to suffer another defeat from him, but it is what it is. In conclusion, this run was great. I finally got to continue my run that unfortunately after so long and so hard ended so close to the end. So this was a fitting way to end it. Now I did complete the game, but only in the post-game battle I wasn't successful. So this was a fitting way to end it. And would I recommend this run? Sure, it's fun, but I do think there are more challenge ideas out there that are even more fun. In terms of difficulty, this was manageable, but still pretty difficult, and even only this endgame cost me hours to defeat. However, I had fun and I hoped you did as well. Please consider subscribing to the channel, that really helps out. I really hope that the YouTube algorithm will pick me up someday, but for that I have to make more videos, which I will. This has been yet another obscure video game run, so until next time I'd say, take care.